Yes, folks, it's the WC, man. Back with another video. Western Conference Playoffs. First round matchup between the Utah Jazz and the LA Clippers. Now, this is a very, very interesting match, as you know, 4 or 5 matchups usually always are in the playoffs. In any sport, you've got the big three of Paul, Jordan, and Blake Griffin going against a Utah team that is young, defensive minded, and just kind of, I mean, I can't say kind of, these guys are hungry. And, you know, Utah just plays the game correctly. Like it's just something that like I love watching Utah play to a certain extent, but there's nothing better than watching like a team like Golden State play. You know what I'm saying? But when you watch like Golden State play, or even the Clippers in this, at this point, there's just a difference between the two styles, and they're going to clash in this series. Now, last year Blake Griffin and Chris Paul both got injured during the playoffs, which basically derailed their playoff run. Chris Paul, I'm gonna tell you like this: I consider Chris Paul to be one of the best players in professional sports not to win a championship at this point. He's an all-around point guard. He's one of the best players in the NBA to not even get to the Western Conference Finals, as far as I'm concerned. And the Clippers have been on the brink of being there over the last few years. They've been expected to be there over the last few years, but for some reason, these guys just have not been able to get over the hump. I mean, for whatever reason, I don't know. You tell me. And then you look at Utah. Like I said, Utah picked up George Hill over the offseason, I think. Gordon Hayward is one of the best players that people just don't really talk too much about. And then you got Rudy Gobert, who is a complete problem. The guy is everything. He's like a creative player almost. He's everything that you want an athletic, agile center to be. Everything. All right. A good scorer, sets solid picks, and he grabs just about everything off the boards. All right. The only thing that that kind of sets him back is maybe foul trouble, but he's really worked on that the last couple years. Now, I want to stick on Rudy. I want to stay on Rudy because I want to talk about the key matchup in this series. The key matchup in this series is going to be DeAndre Jordan versus Rudy Gobert. Both of these guys just mirror each other. I just got done talking about Gobert, his offensive ability. He has that over DeAndre Jordan. But as far as like rebounding ability, pick setting, all that good stuff, both of these guys are just rebounding magnets. And I think that whoever can control the pace of the game the most between the two of these teams, that's going to be the team that wins this series. So rebounding, between DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, Rudy Gobert, and that Jazz team. And the Jazz, if you watch the Jazz, it's not just Rudy Gobert that rebounds pretty darn well. He's just the most common face that you can kind of attach to it. Like everybody just kind of rebounds well for Utah. And Utah shoots very, very late in the shot clock, so they're going to be able to control somewhat of the pace of these games. I wouldn't expect for any of these games to be too far over 100 points. Most of them will probably be under 100 points if you had to ask me. As far as the bench play goes, and some people might be shocked when I say this, Utah has a slight advantage over the Clippers. Like the Clippers have had problems with their bench play over the last couple of years. I know they got Paul Pierce. I think he's in us last season. But outside of Jamal Crawford, who can you really depend on for the Clippers bench? Raymond Felton. Felton is a good player, but he just needs to be on the court more. I don't know about Austin Rivers. I don't know if he's hurt or not. I don't know if he's going to play on the playoffs. I'd expect for him to. You know what I'm saying? So, most Spates. So then you look at Utah, and it's like these guys got Joe Johnson, Joe Ingles. Alec Burke can come in. They got Dial, who I think they put into the starting lineup now. So they've got a nice core of players that are all defensive minded for the most part, that are pretty good scorers. You got Rodney Hood, and I think he, I don't know if they're going to have him come off the bench or if they're going to have him score, coming in. as a starter, but he's a guy that as an offensive guy that can score too. I compare it like maybe a Rodney Hood to a Danny Green. I don't really see too much of a difference between the players. But I think that Utah has the advantage when it comes to bench play. All right. So in this series, man, I think it's going to go 7. I think that Utah is going to be able to hold home court long enough for this series to go 7. They might be able to steal one in LA because, like I said, the Clippers, you know, they've had injuries during the season. Blake Griffin came back. I think, right around the beginning of the season, Chris Paul, people thought he was going to be out for the season at one time or point. Even JJ Redick has been hurt. DeAndre Jordan is basically the only guy that hasn't been nicked up or hurt this year from that starting lineup. So in 7 games, I'm going to go with the Clippers just by an inch. I really want to pick Utah here because, of the fact that I think that it's Utah's time. I think that the Clippers are just on their last legs. We've been talking about these guys making a deep playoff run for a long time, and if it's not going to happen, it's just not going to happen. But I'll go with the Clippers in 7 games. Let me know how you guys feel about this matchup down below. It's the WC. It's the NBA playoffs here on YouTube. And until next time, peace out.